welcome back, everybody, to the Dr. Vani Podcast. It's so good to have you all joining with us here again. My name's Greg, and I'll be hosting this along with Dr. Vani, who you're all here to listen to with her great wisdom. And we're so grateful that you all would join us. We saw such great response to the first episode on YouTube as well as on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's been great to see the response to this podcast. And we just did part one last week, so we're going to be going into another part of this conversation on narcissism. But we did want to mention that as this show continues to develop, we're going to be adding different segments. We've been talking about possibly adding story time with Dr. Vani, where she can share some testimonies over the years of how God has used her and her husband in ministry. And one thing we're really excited about, this is something we're going to do every week, which is called Ask Dr. Vani. And so we're going to encourage you all to send in questions. You can send that in through YouTube comments. You could do it through Instagram on her Instagram page, or even on Facebook. On the Facebook page, you can send through a question, and we'll be reviewing that, and we'll be picking one a week for Dr. Vani to answer. I know she's excited about that. She just mentioned to me that she's really looking forward to answering these questions. So we want to encourage you all to reach out and to ask Dr. Vani. And who knows, she might pick your question next week.
I am so excited, Greg, particularly about Ask Dr. Vani. Not because I have all the answers, but I love interacting. I want to know what is in the hearts and minds of our viewers, the viewers of and the listeners of our podcast. Ask me, anything on spiritual health, mental health, emotional health, families, struggles that you're having. If you have a struggle, a particular challenge in your life, ask me questions about that. I would love to discuss that. And get involved in your personal journey to discovering, who you are and who God wants you to be. And that is so amazing. So I'm excited about Ask Dr. Vani more than really anything else.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And we're chatting about the next series that you're going to be tackling after we do these number of episodes on narcissism. We're going to be looking at strongholds and how to tear down strongholds, and you've got a wealth of information on that, and so we're very much looking forward to even the next series. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We're still in this great series, and we've had so many people reach out and comment about how this has already been a blessing to them, and we really haven't even gotten into how to deal with people that we have identified as narcissists, or even ourselves if we've seen something within ourselves. And so today is going to be talking more about how to. So I'm going to throw this over to you, Dr. Vani. They're tired of hearing my voice. They want to hear your voice. So you take over for the podcast here today.
Thank you so much, Greg. This is wonderful. Welcome to the Dr. Vani Podcast. I am so thankful to Greg for making this happen. This would not have really happened without his input, his guidance, and his expertise in podcasting, if you like. The last time when we talked about navigating relationships with narcissists, we talked about the four stages of how a narcissist actually gets you embroiled in a relationship with them. We talked about the idealization stage. I just want to do a little recap for the next couple of minutes. That's okay. The idealization stage, where, remember I said about how the narcissist love bombs you. They love bomb you. They kind of really confuse you, thinking that they're on your side, they love you, they support you, there's nothing you can do wrong. They actually put you on a pedestal so that you will put them on a pedestal. And the idealization stage is where, as I said, they love bomb you and they make you feel very, very special. So as soon as the love bombing stage is over and they've made you feel special, you are already now invested in this relationship, because who doesn't want to feel special? Who doesn't want to be appreciated? Who doesn't want to be treated like, a princess or somebody special, And so once you buy into that, and again, I don't like saying this, but once you buy into that fake love that you have been offered, once you buy into it and you really begin to believe that that love and that affection and that love bombing is actually real, it's not. But once you buy into it, then they've already got you really in the palm of their hands. And once they know they've got you, and this is what makes malignant narcissists so dangerous for our spiritual and mental health. So then what happens is they devalue that's the devaluing stage. So the love bombing, the idealization stage, then it moves into the devaluation stage where they start pointing out flaws. Are you sure you want to look like that? I gave you examples. Refer to the previous podcast for, more details. They test your boundaries. Are you going to stop them from devaluing you? Now, really, if you want to help that relationship, if you want to really navigate a narcissistic relationship, and you want to be able to stop all of the toxicity, this is the stage where you set your boundaries. As soon as they start devaluing you, that's where you set your boundaries. Wait a minute. Just last week, I could do no wrong. And this week, you're acting, you have an attitude, you're being mean, you're being ugly. What's going on? Narcissists don't like that, because now you're trying to expose them in the stage where their narcissism is beginning to come out. It's being exposed. But when you expose them there, they're not happy. They're not happy. They will fight you on it. But this is the devaluation stage, is where you start placing boundaries, and they will test your boundaries. You know how? They'll keep devaluing you. They'll keep insulting you, putting you down, pointing out flaws to see whether you put those boundaries or you just let it slip. Don't let it slip. Not in this stage. Because the following stages is going to be harder to let it slip. The next stage is gaslighting. So when in the devaluation stage, say, for example, you tell them, wait a minute. You were so nice when I first met you, and you were so nice in the first couple of years of our relationship, or whether it's work relationship or spouse relationship. Now, in this particular segment, I'm going to really focus on spousal relationship, marital relationship there. And in the following segments and future segments, I will focus on other relationship, employment relationship, the narcissistic boss, the narcissistic kids. This one is the narcissistic spouse, whether it's husband or wife. Well, in the devaluation stage, when they start putting you down, picking on, on flaws or whatever, making you feel bad, making you feel small, insulted, when you point it out and you say, wait a minute, why are you saying that? Why are you being mean? Why are you being nasty towards me? I mean, my goodness, you never were like this before. Then they move into the gaslighting stage, the third stage. The gaslighting stage is they will start questioning your own analysis of the situation. So when you say, why are you treating me bad? They'll be like, what? No, I'm not treating you bad. You have a wild imagination. I care about you. I'm concerned for you. I love you. I'm not treating you bad. If somebody's saying bad things about me, they're gaslighting you. They're wondering whether you're going to hold your ground and still expose them from the devaluation stage, that you're going to hold your ground even in the gaslighting stage, or you're going to start questioning your own sanity. Or maybe I am imagining you treating me badly. Maybe I am imagining that you talked down to me, or you spoke to me in a rude way. Maybe I'm imagining it. Once you start questioning your own discernment, your own intuition, your own analysis of that toxicity, they've got you. Because now you're questioning your own soundness. Listen, if you are, and I don't want to say intuition, if you have discerned, you've picked up, let me say this word, we use this word very often, do you pick up? And if you picked up a vibe of nastiness or rudeness from someone, and you know that they've been rude to you, that you know that they've manipulated, you know they're putting you down, but they gaslight you and saying, I didn't put you down, you're imagining it. You must have dreamt all of it. You must have imagined all of that. And they dismiss your concerns and they distort reality. Why are they dismissing you and they're gaslighting you? They're distorting your reality. You know that that's happening. Don't back down. Don't back down. Don't back up and give up the fight. I'm not asking you to be nasty back and fight with them and be ugly with them. Be rational and say, no, I know exactly what you're doing. I know exactly what you said. You said it just not more than 24 hours ago. You put me down. Now you're trying to make me question my reality. You're trying to make me question not just my reality. You're trying to make me question reality by gaslighting me. I'm not questioning my reality. I know what happened. I know what happened and I know your involvement in what happened. So don't be questioning my sanity. I'm sane. Your gaslighting. A narcissist will not be able to handle an analytical, calm, collected, cool person that does not believe anything they say. Don't believe anything they say. That's part of it. I'm going to expound, okay? Now, the last stage that I touched on last week, I'm just recapping right now, is the silent treatment, okay? So idealization, they love bomb you, and then devaluation, they point out flaws, gaslighting, they dismiss your concern, they distort reality, they make you question your own sanity. And then the last treatment, the last stage is silent treatment. Okay, you know, you're not easily controllable. You're trying to put back. I'm just going to go silent on you. I'm going to go silent mode on you. I'm going to withdraw and pout and I'm going to withdraw and I'm going to punish you. I'm going to punish you because you've challenged me. How dare you challenge me? Then that's what the narcissist is doing. They don't want to be challenged. You've just challenged them by putting boundaries. You've just challenged them by saying, I'm not the one losing my mind. I know exactly what you did. And you know you did it, right? They cannot take that kind of challenging. So they will punish you by withdrawing from you. Now listen, if you've invested, now we're talking about marital relationship. In a marital relationship, we invest. My husband invested in me. Affection, respect, love, support for ministry, everything. I invested in him. In a marital relationship, there's major investment. And you know what we do as a spouse? And I'm not just talking about wives, even husbands. I counsel both sides of I counsel narcissistic women, narcissistic men, and I also counsel the spouse of narcissistic women and men. So please don't think that only men are narcissistic. I'm counseling people that women are narcissistic and the men are being abused. Sorry, but they are. In a marital relationship, you've invested. And you know what investment does? It's a good thing, by the way. Investing in a good relationship is a good thing. But when you've invested in any kind of relationship, it's so hard to walk away because you feel that it's all I've invested. I've invested 10, 20, 25 years in this relationship. I know he's a narcissist and he's an abuser. How do I walk away from an abuser? There are kids in the mix. There are children. There's a house. There's investment, financial investment, emotional investment, spiritual investment. How do you walk away? Some relationships, it might be difficult, not impossible. I'm not going to use the word impossible, but it might be very, very hard to walk away because of that investment. So what do you do? And today, in this podcast, we're going to talk about what you do when you cannot walk away. What do you do when you cannot walk away? Okay. Now, when a narcissistic relationship cannot be escaped, that's what I mean. You cannot escape this person. You're married to this person. There are children involved. There's financial responsibility involved. You may not even have the financial resources to escape. What do you do? Now, don't forget, A narcissist's aim, the aim of the narcissist, if you don't remember everything else, remember this. The aim of the narcissist is to control every aspect of your thoughts, your feelings. I know it sounds awful. Your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, your present, and your future. That's the aim, the goal, the agenda of a narcissist. How do you escape that? So, because a narcissist aims to control every aspect of the victim, I don't enjoy using the word victim, but for the purpose of a relationship where one of the spouse is a narcissist and the other spouse is really a victim of the narcissistic behavior of the spouse.
Right.
So a narcissist aims to control, as I said, every aspect of the victim, be that their actions, feelings, dreams, thoughts. And the longer the abuse continues, now note, I'm using the word abuse. Sometimes when I've counseled the spouse of a narcissist, not the narcissist, but the spouse of a narcissist, they don't like me using that word. They're like, I'm a victim of abuse. Yes, if you're married to a narcissist, you're being abused mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in every way. You are a victim of abuse, whether you like to hear it or not. I mean, first of all, it is important to accept that I am a victim of abuse. You need to accept that in order to move forward into healing. If you don't accept that you are being abused, you will never move forward in healing. You'll never put boundaries. You'll never self-care. You will continue to take the terrible, destructive behavior of the narcissist in your family. Now, we're going to be doing, how to navigate narcissism between parents and children. Even in that, you have to know how to self-care. Now, for those who are trapped, and I use the word trapped because that's exactly what it is, I'm sorry, but those who are trapped in narcissistic relationship with no easy way out, that's why this is very relevant to marital relationship. Marital relationship, the scriptures give us very specific scenarios and specific circumstances where you can walk away because the covenant has been broken.
Right.
Okay. And the specific scenarios are adultery, fornication. These are specific scenarios. But what if there's no adultery? What if there's no, there's no other third person involved, the third man, a third woman involved, and the husband or the wife is just abusive? What do you do? Now, of course, you as an adult can exercise the option of physically removing yourself from the abuser, separating yourself from the abuser. Absolutely. I'm not talking about divorce, but separation from the abuser. Yes.
And
But what if you cannot even do that?
And you're not only talking about physical abuse as well. I think that's important.
Yes.
I know.
Now,
I know you've already highlighted that.
Right. When I say abuse, now if you look at the podcast before this one, the previous one on narcissism, abuse is not just physical abuse. Please don't think that when I use the word abuse, it means that you're being beat up physically. Abuse is mental abuse, putting you down constantly, using words to demean you or diminish your integrity, suspecting you constantly of being a bad person, being very suspicious, totally ghosting you. Yes, a spouse can even totally shut down, ghost you, not provide the spousal support, love, physical and emotional support and affection that you need, totally withdrawn from you, gaslighting you, distorting your reality. All of that is abuse. All of it is abuse. Not just physical, emotional, mental, spiritual abuse. It's abuse. And if you're a victim of abuse, of these other kinds of abuse, other than physical abuse, you just have to admit and accept the fact, yes, I am a victim of abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. I'm a victim of where my spouse is withdrawn from me completely and does not want to even show me any kind of love and affection. That's abuse. You're not going to be able to move forward if you don't admit that you are being abused. Transparency and honesty is so vital in any kind of relationship. With, first of all, with you need to be honest and transparent with yourself. You need to be honest and transparent with God. We cannot have a relationship with God without transparency and honesty. God demands it of every child of God, that you are transparent and honest with God. God cannot deal with anything that is steeped in dishonesty or lies or denial. Don't deny. If you're being abused, you're being abused. Don't deny it. So for those who are trapped, for those who are trapped in a narcissistic relationship with no easy way out, it is so important to learn effective ways of communicating, because there's no easy way out of that. Okay, you might be married to a narcissist, or the narcissist, again, I want to stick to marital right now, but it might be a family member, a spouse, that there's no easy way out. You have to be married to them. You have to live with them. How do you learn effective ways to communicate and navigate your relationship with somebody you cannot separate from? You can't go live in another house, another apartment, another city, no matter how much you want to. How do you navigate that relationship and protect yourself from, well, quite literally losing your mind? Because it's very easy to have a nervous breakdown if you're living with a narcissist. That's their goal, remember? They want to give you a nervous breakdown. Learning effective ways to communicate with a narcissist can be actually life-saving for you. It can be you, the spouse of the narcissist. If you're listening to this podcast, it is life-saving for you. In addition to helping you gain back some control. So learning effective ways means it includes learning how to gain back some control. Because what does the narcissist do? To take control. The narcissist wants to rob you of control, self-determination, peace of mind. What do you have to do? Take it back. Take it back without, everything blowing up. And if you have children in the mix, there are ways of navigate around that, because children observe everything. Okay, and as part of communicating with the narcissistic spouse, as part of that, you also have to work towards empowerment. Now, the victim has to gain back control, but the victim also has to work towards empowerment instead of a persecuted mindset. Oh, I live with a spouse who's narcissist. I just am persecuted all the time. I don't know what to do. Now, if you are in those lines where I don't know what to do, I think I'm just going to put up with this treatment, I'm not going to try to self-care, then you will forever remain a victim. There is a difference between being a victim of a narcissist and adopting a victim mindset where you accept victimhood. Don't accept victimhood. Fight against it. Take back control. Empower yourself. Self-care. Okay. Now, the safest method of communicating with a narcissist is to cut off from any form of correspondence. Now, when I use this word correspondence, a lot of people think correspondence, what do you mean? Writing a letter? No, no. Correspondence means to correspond. The root word for correspondence is not writing a letter or sending somebody a card, but the root word is to respond to what they are saying to you. Now, when they say something to you, when a narcissist says something to you, put down, insults you, whatever, they're saying it for a reason. They're saying it because they want you to be triggered. They're trying to push your buttons, They're trying to press all of your bad buttons, and you will be triggered. And if you're triggered, oh, they're so happy. I win. You're triggered. That's what I wanted. Awesome. If you get frustrated and angry with all the buttons you're pushing, instead of remaining calm and talking to them and saying, okay, that's what you think. That's fine. I'm still going to wear that dress. I'm still going to go out in that lovely dress that you bought for me actually 2 months ago. But now that suddenly I don't look good, but I like it. So that's okay. And you're entitled to your opinion. They hate that phrase. You're entitled to your opinion. You know how many narcissists I've talked to, and I've said, I'm talking about in counseling, but also, sorry, I have a couple of narcissists in when I say family, I mean distant family. I have a
Right.
couple of narcissistic relatives, and if my relatives are watching this, I hope, oh well. And I've talked to certain narcissistic friends that I used to have, and they struggled with narcissism, and I've had to learn how to navigate that friendship. I've had to learn how to navigate my relationship with some of my relatives who happen to have narcissistic traits. I've had to. Listen, if you live on this planet, at some point you're bound to either bump into or work with or be involved in a relationship with a narcissist. You're going to meet a narcissist. Hopefully, you're not in a close relationship with one, but you might work with one, might be a colleague, might be a boss, it might be your own child. You don't have to lose your mind navigating relationships with a narcissist. They want you to lose your mind. So when a narcissist is talking to you, their goal is to press all your buttons and to get you all frustrated and trigger you and make you mad and make you cry and make you upset and make you walk away. When you do all of that, any of that, cry, get frustrated, get angry, argue back, fight back, you respond to their narcissistic comments, they win. They win. They've got what they want. They've got their daily dose of narcissistic buzz. I'll just say buzz for now. And you allowed it to happen because you responded to their narcissistic comments and behavior. So now, because narcissism is a lifelong issue, I know that sounds horrible. I remember when I studied narcissism years and years ago, and I was doing some research on it. It hurt me to find out, this was a long time ago, that narcissism is lifelong. There is no real cure for narcissism. I'm not trying to discourage any of you husbands or wives watching this podcast, or parents or children watching this thinking, what? I mean, they'll never change? There is no cure in the world of psychology. Now, I'm a believer in God. I believe in miracles. I believe there's healing. There may not be cure in the field of psychology, but God can come and heal narcissism in 5 seconds, like he can heal cancer. God can do that. Narcissism is a major demonic stronghold. And when we do the podcast on strongholds, I'll tell you more about that. And narcissism is a demonic stronghold. It's a mental illness. Narcissism is a mental illness. Now, psychologists like myself, we accept that as a mental illness. It is actually it is scientific fact. It's a mental illness. But in the area of faith and scripture, narcissism is a demonic stronghold. Now, do you know what the hope is here? What psychology cannot cure, God can take care of it. And of course, God can perform a miracle. But narcissists have to come to a realization that they have a problem, that they have issues, and they have to repent, because for any miracle, repentance is necessary.
Mm.
For a miracle to occur, the person needs to repent and put their faith in the one that can provide the miracle. That's 101. That's basic. And the problem here is that narcissists don't ever admit, or for the most part, never admit that they're narcissists, that they have this issue. So even in that area, miracles are, healing a narcissist is difficult because they don't admit that they are narcissists. Everybody else is the problem. Everyone else has the mental issue. Everyone else is bad and nasty and horrible. They are the good ones. They're trying to help everybody. They're trying to help the world. They're trying to save everybody. But nobody understands them. Everyone thinks they are bad. That's one of the malignant narcissist characteristics. So again, because true narcissism is a lifelong issue, like I said, and often cannot be cured, avoiding all interaction, meaning when I say avoiding all interaction is avoiding responding to the narcissistic comments, is the most genuine safeguard that the victim of narcissism can employ. The most genuine safeguard of a wife or husband of a narcissist is to avoid all, when I say interaction, I don't mean that don't talk to them anymore, but that don't respond to their narcissistic verbal abuse.
Mm.
You can't. You mustn't. Because the more you respond, remember I'm saying respond, okay? I'm not saying don't talk to them at all. I mean, if you have to say, hey, have a nice day, you're not responding to anything. You're just telling them to have a nice day. Good night, good morning. That's fine. How are you? You doing great? Yeah, that's fine. But when they put you down, you're like, why? Why don't I look nice in this? Well, what do you mean? I thought that you like this. You're responding. You're responding to their narcissistic torment and taunts. What do you mean? Why did you just say that to me? That's so hurtful. Why did you? That's terrible. You never were like that. Don't respond. You're not helping yourself when you respond, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to react. They want you to be triggered. They want you to be hurt, cry, be upset, mad, frustrated, angry, get into an argument. Don't give them what they want. There's no cure for narcissists. But there are safeguards for the victim of narcissists.
I guess that's
now, for
why,
many individuals,
I guess that's why being able to identify, which is why the first part's so important, that they're able to identify all of these things. So then they can have these safeguards instead of, just operating like when they make that comment, identifying, oh, they're gaslighting me, so I'm not going to respond to that. I'm just going to play it cool or whatnot, instead of just walking straight into the trap every time.
Absolutely. Those of you watching this podcast, please watch the first segment on identifying how a narcissist operates, the 4 stages that the narcissist operates in, devaluation, gaslighting, silent treatment. You need to understand that so you can identify, oh my goodness, I'm working with a narcissist, or I'm married to a narcissist, or my son or daughter is a narcissist, so that then you can put those boundaries and safeguards. Communication techniques for narcissistic relationship. Now, don't forget, this podcast really is about communication technique. It's a skill. Actually, communication with whoever, not just narcissists, communication with anybody is a skill. It's a learned skill. You have to learn the skill how to communicate. But communication with a narcissist is a very special skill. Very important to learn it right away. And to be diligent about learning and put it into practice. Now, remember, one of the things about how to navigate communication skills with a narcissist is to remember that narcissism thrives on intimacy. I'm going to say it again. Narcissism thrives on intimacy. Narcissism depends on making you be as close to them as possible. That you don't really have your own life. In many ways, you may not even have your own circle of friends. They try to separate you from your own circle of friends, your own family influence. They don't want any other voice in you. They don't want you to have circle of friends that you're close to. They may put up with some friends you have, as long as those friends are kind of shallow, hey, hi, bye kind of friends. But if you have a best friend, narcissists don't like their victims, especially their spouses, to have a best friend. They want to be your best friend. I know. Kind of creepy, but sorry. So what do I mean by narcissism thrives on intimacy? Narcissism thriving on intimacy means it's making it challenging. Narcissists depend on you being so close to them that the narcissist wants you to be their best friend. The narcissist wants to be your only best friend, your only close friend, your only voice. The narcissist wants to control you to the point where you don't go to anybody else, including your pastor, anybody else for advice. You know, narcissist spouse don't like the spouse to have a therapist or a counselor. Yeah. How do you think I know that? I've counseled enough victims of narcissists or spouses of narcissists to know that the narcissist's worst nightmare, one of the narcissist's worst nightmare, is if the spouse goes to the narcissist and say, hey, I'm seeing a therapist, I'm seeing a counselor about all the stuff that's going on in my life. And they're like, what? Why are you seeing a therapist? Why? Are you talking to her about me? Well, I'm talking to her about everything, about us, about the kids, about my work, my job. Well, why? I'm here. You and me, you know, we're best friends. Why do you need a counselor? Why do you need to go talk to pastor? Why do you need pastoral advice? I'm here. Wow. Be careful. They would want to separate you from any wise counsel, any wisdom, any pastoral or professional counseling. Be very careful of that. That's what because they are very insecure, you know. Remember, a narcissist shows confidence and charm, that they're secure, they're strong on the outside. It's all fake inside. They're extremely insecure, extremely broken. And that's why the 4 stages of trying to control you, because they're broken, you know, they're insecure. They thrive, and I know I've said this several times, but they thrive on you being so intimate, so close to them that nobody else can get in between you and the narcissist. So if this is the narcissist and this is you, they don't want anyone getting between. Freaks them out.
Do they even try to like isolate you from your family as well?
They do. Narcissists, extreme narcissists. I'm not, you know, in the last podcast, we talked about those with narcissistic tendencies and those with actual narcissistic personality disorder, which is a mental illness. We talked about, you know, there are 2 groups of it. But even both will attempt to separate you from family influence, pastoral influence, therapy influence. They will try to separate you. Oh my goodness. I've had spouses of narcissists in counseling tell me, you know, my spouse, I'm not, you know, both sides, you know, husband or wife, my spouse feels that I don't need to be coming to you for counseling anymore because, you know, I don't know, they seem to be worried about what you might be telling them. Well, hey, I expected that. So I explained to them why the narcissist does that, and their eyes open up. They're like, oh my goodness. So they're trying to separate me from wise counsel. They're trying to separate me from wisdom. They're trying to separate me from my pastor and his wife counseling. And I tell them, you've got to put a boundary right there and say, no, nah, I'm going to go for counseling. Yeah. I'm sorry you're insecure about it. I'm sorry you don't want me to have that circle of intimate friends that can that support me and love me. They're not trying to influence me in a bad way. They're not evil friends trying to influence me to walk away from faith and from God and whatever. They're wise people that are trying to influence me to be a better person. No, I'm not going to stop counseling. I'm not going to stop receiving pastoral counsel or professional counseling. I'm not going to stop from having my circle of safe friends, or I'm not going to stop talking to my mom and dad. Oh, yeah. Those with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, are very capable of separating you from your own parents. And if they feel that your children have an influence over you, they're capable of separating you from your own kids. It's a stronghold. It's a mental illness. It's a stronghold. Okay. So self-insulation. Self-insulation is one of several techniques that you need to practice in communicating and navigating your relationship with a narcissist. Self-insulation is, because narcissists thrive on pushing your buttons, because narcissists, okay, what do I mean by that? This is going to sound awful, but I'll say it. Narcissists thrive on using what I would call insider knowledge. I know that sounds awful, but if they know anything about you, like any insider knowledge of a weakness that you have or some kind of a struggle that you're going through or whatever, they will use insider knowledge of your struggle, your weakness or whatever, to push your buttons, to gain a foothold in controlling you. Or to gain a foothold in controlling anyone really with insider knowledge. Okay. And learning how to insulate, I'm going to tell you how. Learning how to insulate yourself from their attacks is crucial. Now, don't forget, we're talking about a relationship you cannot escape. Now, if you've got a strategy to escape that relationship, okay, escape. May God help you in your journey. But what if you can't? We talked about that. Certain, marital relationships, they may not be a way for you to leave it because there's no biblical foundation for you to end the relationship. So what do? You learn to insulate yourself from the attacks, growing a emotional shield. Grow a emotional shield to protect yourself. Okay, so growing the shield is a protective factor that can eventually take away power from the arrows of the narcissist. If you grow an emotional shield, it may be able to help you to take away those nasty arrows, to take away the power from the nasty arrows from hurting you, because that's what narcissists will do for the rest of your life. They will just, continue to send arrows of hurt and pain to you. That's how they feel special. That's how they can get their buzz, is by hurting you. So how do I form this emotional shield, and how do I form this extra protective layer over my heart to protect myself from those fiery darts from the narcissist? First of all, I would suggest that you spend time analyzing your inner thoughts. Analyze your thoughts. Focus on and working through your anxieties. Analyze why you're anxious. Are you anxious because you think you're going to lose the narcissist? Are you anxious because you think that, I have to put up with it because I don't want to lose them? Analyze that. The only one that you should never want to lose is God. The only one that you should never want to be separated from is God. Analyze any other relationships that you have that you feel you need to hang on to, including toxic, abusive narcissistic relationships. Relationship with a narcissist is abusive. It is toxic. Why are you okay with putting up with it? Oh, well, because I don't want to lose. Why don't you want to lose them? They're abusive. Why are you people pleasing a narcissist in order to keep them in your world? Why are you not putting strong boundaries and exposing their narcissism? So spend time analyzing and focusing and working through your misgivings and anxieties. Be fearless with yourself. Self-exploration, meaning know who you are. Who are you? If you know who you are, and if you want to know the guidelines of knowing who you are, it's in scripture. God spells out who you are. You don't have to Google who you are. In fact, I don't recommend it. But God has already described who you are. You're his child. The bride, you're beautiful, you're saved, you're healed, you're empowered, you're strong, you're filled with his spirit. That's who you are. You need to remind yourself who you are in him, who you are in God. Who are you? If you don't know who you are, then everybody else will dictate who you are. Especially the narcissist is going to tell you who you are. The narcissist will be so happy. They'll be thrilled to tell you who you are. They will remove your own personal identity and superimpose their identity and their needs on you, to the point where, to the extent that you won't know who you are anymore. You will only say, well, I am who they think I am. I'm ugly. I'm not clever. I'm failure. Well, why do you say that? Well, that's what my spouse, he or she, says about me. It must be true. If you don't know who you are, you're going to let other people tell you who you are. Please don't. Please don't let other people tell you who you are. They don't know. God does. Find out who you are in God. He's laid it all out, point by point, who you really are. And you have to absorb that information. Stockpile your mind with the information that of who you are from the only one who really knows who you are. He made you. He created you, manufactured you. He knows who you are. And if you don't believe him, then you're going to believe everybody else. And a narcissist will gain a foothold into your life by, every day the narcissist will be more than happy to tell you who you are. Not who you really are, but who you are. And will try to convince you to believe your new toxic failure identity. That you're not good enough, you're not clever enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not powerful enough, you're not strong enough, you're not tall enough, you're not big enough. But you serve a God who is big enough, powerful enough, beautiful enough, strong enough, amazing enough. And if that God is in you, then you're all that. You're all that. You are strong enough, beautiful enough, smart enough, tall enough, strong enough to withstand challenges in your life. Don't let the narcissist recategorize, relabel you. God has already has created a label for you. Don't let the narcissist relabel you or re-identify you. Arm yourself. And I mean arm, because self-knowledge is arming yourself. It's a weapon. Okay, self-knowledge is a weapon. Arm yourself with insight on what makes you tick. What makes you tick? What makes you happy? What makes you smile? What makes you feel there's hope, there's life, there's joy? What gives you joy and peace? And if there's a emotional vampire in your, that's what a narcissist is, by the way. They are emotional vampires. They take away your knowledge of what makes you tick. They take away your dreams and your hopes for the future. So in the end, you're left with, you don't know what makes you tick. You don't know what you know, who you really are. Self-exploration, self-knowledge is a safe place to dig into your triggers, because when you know who you are, you're not going to allow the narcissist to trigger you into thinking or fearing who you're not. I hope you understand what I just said. When you find out who you are, at the same time, you're going to find out who you're not. And the narcissist is an expert in selling you a bunch of lies into who you're not. So who are you? Find out. Put a list. Save it on your phone. Remind yourself every day. This is who I am. So when you arm yourself with insight on what makes you tick and what buttons, yeah, by the way, arming yourself with self-knowledge also means that you are honest with yourself and to try to find out and discover what buttons, when they are pushed, triggers you. Be honest. Oh, when somebody says this, not just a narcissist, anybody, not even a non-narcissistic person, a friend or somebody, what triggers you? Can someone who's a non-narcissist push a button and it triggers you? Can they say something and you flare up? Self-knowledge, exploration into self-knowledge also gets you on the journey of what buttons, when pushed, really seem to hit home. Find out that. So that you get used to, oh, when this button is pushed, that hits home and makes me mad. So when a narcissist pushes that button, you're prepared. You're like, yeah, I'm not going to trigger. I know what you just did. What did I do? You just said that. You wanted to push my button, but I already know that button will trigger me. So I'm way prepared. And the narcissist is all confused because he thought you were just going to flare up, trigger, walk out, set the kitchen on fire. You didn't. You just smiled and said, I know exactly what you're trying to do. Good night. I'm going to go to bed. By increasing awareness of your potential weak spots, these are the trigger spots, right? These are the buttons the narcissist can push. But if you are aware of your own weak spots, you can make the attacks from the narcissist will hurt less when the attacks happen because you're already prepared. You already know what triggers you. So when somebody triggers you in the area that you know you could get triggered, you could just stop that and go, I'm not going to get triggered. I already know that triggers me. I'm working on that though. And even if you're triggered a little bit, it hurts less because you already prepared. You already know who you are. You already know even what triggers you. You know what sets you in a bad mood. You know what makes you angry. You know what makes you happy. You know what, all of that. So when somebody does something to you to trigger you and you already know that's one of your issues you're dealing with, you can deal with it right away and go, I know what you're trying to do, my dear. Not working. And you take back control. That moment, you take back control. I'm not saying at that moment you overcome your trigger or you're cured of your trigger, but then you are aware of your trigger. And once you are aware of it, awareness is power. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful things you can do. Powerful. Learn how not to respond. Narcissists need a reaction. That's why they push your buttons, because they need a reaction. They crave it. When they don't get a reaction from you, when they're pushing the buttons, they get mad. They need a reaction to get the satisfaction and control that they crave. And by learning what situations require a response, when you learn what situations require a response and which can be safely ignored, okay, you know what situations require response, but then you decide to ignore it, you diffuse. You diffuse that fiery dart that the narcissist, he or she's releasing against you, that fiery dart that is being sent to you, diffuse it. You're like, you put out the fire. You gain control. You're empowered. and you buy yourself. Now I'm talking about relationships that you cannot leave. You cannot separate. You may not be able to get divorced. So relationships. And at that moment, because you've decided to stay in that relationship, but because you are navigating it in a healthy way, you're not responding, you are creating self-awareness, you know who you are, you also know who you're not, you buy yourself valuable peace. Every day of your life, you buy valuable peace because you're diffusing all of the fiery darts that the narcissist is sending your way. And you become empowered. Now you're in charge of your own life, your own peace, your own joy. You're in charge. You're no longer have sold it. You've not sold out your peace and your joy to someone else, that toxic narcissist that controlled you, that controlled your peace, controlled how much peace you can have, controlled how much joy you can have by those toxic comments and devaluation stage and gaslighting you and silent treatment, abusive. All of a sudden, you come out on top. You're like, hey, I know you're probably never going to stop abusing me and being abusive, and you're never going to stop being nasty. You're never going to stop being a narcissist. But hey, you know what? I know who I am. I know who you are, but I know who I am. I know who I'm not. And I believe me. I don't believe you anymore. You're fake. I don't believe you. Devil's a liar. So are you. And this technique requires trial and error, though, okay? In a relationship, when you start this technique of self-evaluation, self-care, self-knowledge, and also not responding to the toxic words, and not responding to the gaslighting, not responding to the devaluation and put downs and insults, when you stop responding to all of that, this will require some trial and error because you're human, right? If you're married to a narcissist, you're human. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're going to think, man, but that's going to trigger me. Yes. So it's going to require some trial and error. Sometimes you are going to be triggered and you're going to respond in a way you wish you hadn't, but it's okay. In time, you will learn. Any new skill is going to take time for you to learn the new skill, right? Whether it is dealing with a narcissist or, I don't know, baking a cake, changing a flat tire, it's all skill, right? Test it out. You listen to this podcast? Well, if you're living with a narcissist, tomorrow, tonight, whenever, test out not responding in different situations. Just test it out. Test yourself how much you can do this. Put those boundaries and say, I know who I am. Not going to listen. You're lying. You don't even have to say you're lying because, that's, they will work on that part. Just say, nah, I'm not stupid. I'm not unintelligent like you think I am. I'm intelligent, but you're entitled to your opinion. Oh my goodness. They're like, what? Wait a minute. You don't believe me? Nah, I believe God. I believe me. I have more awareness and self-knowledge in who I really am. It's not who you think I am, but it's not important anymore who you think I am. What's important is what God thinks I am. I'm pretty special. Sorry, you don't think so, but I'm pretty special. You drive them up the wall, they lose their mind because they cannot control you anymore. They can't gaslight you. They lose a foothold. They lose that foothold, that stronghold they had over your mind, that foothold they had over your soul. They lose it because you are, no, I'm not playing into your hand anymore. I am now safely in the hand of God. Test out not responding in different situations. Pay close attention to the outcomes. Carefully track the conditions that can be handled by just sitting back and waiting. Sometimes just sit back, Don't respond. It's the best kind of response. Give yourself permission to not answer every text and phone call. You know what narcissists do, right? They text you, and we are so, because we're invested in this relationship, they've already controlled our mind. They've controlled our feelings, our whatever. They're playing this game. They text you. They know you're going to respond to the text because you've done it before. They've texted you 20 times and you're in a work meeting. Your boss is talking to the entire staff, and this narcissist spouse is texting you not once, not twice. And you've even said to them, I'm in a work meeting. Can I call you back in about an hour? No, I'm a narc. You're going to call me back now. I'm more important than your work meeting. I'm more important than your boss and your office. If you're living in that kind of situation, the best thing you can do is don't respond to any further text. They want you to respond. That's why they'll text you 20 times, because that's control. They are manipulating you and controlling you to respond 20 times. Don't do it. You've already responded one time, more than enough. I'm in a work meeting or I'm in a staff meeting. Can I call you back in an hour? Cannot talk right now. One of those, I'm driving right now, cannot respond, automatic message. You got to do that in your phone. Do an automatic message. Cannot talk to you right now. I'm in a work meeting. I've got all kinds of messages there. Just let out a secret right there. Give yourself permission to not answer every text, every phone call. Now, narcissists, if you don't respond to their text, they're going to call. They're going to call. So your phone's going to go buzz, buzz 20 times. Mute it. Because you're like, oh, my phone. Sorry, boss. Can I just take this call? Because I think it's important. Don't do that. It's not important. It's a narc. It's a narc trying to push your boundaries and see whether you are going to put them first above every other human being. I counseled a man. He was a wonderful husband. He loves his wife, loves his children, and he loves his place of worship. Every Sunday he's at his place of worship. Well, the wife didn't join him at the place of worship. Sometimes she did, but sometimes she didn't. But she will actually call him during worship. She knows what worship. She knows worship is at 10:30 to 20, 30 minutes of worship. That's when she'll call. She will dare him not. She will dare him to, I dare you not to answer. At first, he would answer every time. So he would walk out of the church, because you can't be on your phone during worship. And well, you could, but it's not polite. So he would walk out of the sanctuary. Okay, his worship is destroyed right now because she's calling him 10 times. You better pick up the phone, dude. Now, this was before he counseled with me. Right now, he didn't answer anymore. He goes a gone fishing sign. That's wonderful. But anyway, he used to walk out of the sanctuary to answer a phone call. What's wrong? There's nothing wrong. The kitchen was not on fire. The children were not in the ER. There was nothing wrong. She was like, oh no, I'm just feeling, kind of bored. And, what time the service over? She knows. Well, where are we going for lunch? And hey, Johnny needs to go shopping. This is worship time. She could have reserved all of that to later. She just was narcissistic. She was a narcissistic wife wanting to bully, and devalue the husband. No respect. He was the typical enabling spouse. Every time you text them back, every time you respond to their 20 texts, 20 phone calls, you enable them. So it'll be your fault. So it was his fault. He enabled her by answering every time she called. Well, when he came to counseling, and they said, well, don't answer. She's like, oh no, what? He's like, am I paying you to answer, to give me this kind of advice? Yeah, don't answer. It's worth every penny. Don't answer. He's like, but when I go home, I'm like, yeah. When you go home, she's going to quarrel. She's going to fight. She's going to insult you. She's going to, she's going to accuse you of not being a loving husband and not putting the family first. And how come you cannot? And you just tell her, no, you already know from 10:30 to 12:30, I'm at my place of worship. I'm at church and I'm going to do what I need to do. but you don't respect me. So next time you call, I'm going to mute my phone, probably actually switch my phone off, and you won't be able to contact me. But I told him, don't switch your phone off just in case it is a real emergency, but don't answer. You can send a message. Tell me what it is. Now, if it was a real emergency, somebody's in hospital, the house is on fire, tell her to text it. If she says, I'm not going to tell you what it is, you have got to call me first, don't respond. Give yourself permission. Husbands, listening to this, wives, listening to this, parents, give yourself permission to not answer every text, phone call, challenge, or plea. You don't love us. You don't love our family. You always put God before us. Well, yeah. Recognize that boundaries are reasonable, regardless of how your narcissistic spouse has trained you to think otherwise. Narcissists train you throughout your relationship with them. One of their goals is to train you to think that boundaries with them are not important. They are more important than self-care. They are more important than your boundaries. Forget it. Stop. I said some time ago in another, I think that was in another podcast, at Hacker Podcast, I said this: be a cycle breaker. Break that cycle of toxicity. Don't be an enabler. You will only have yourself to blame if you're an enabler. Mastering the art of not responding. Ooh, it's a difficult art to master because we're human beings. And so many of us are people pleasers, and we think that if I don't respond, I'm going to lose her. Hey, mastering the art of not responding will remove a lot of the emotional upheaval that comes when engaging with a narcissist. Now, I've not completed everything that I need to say about how to navigate your relationship with narcissists. We have, in future podcasts, I want to talk about navigating relationship with a narcissistic child, a narcissistic son or daughter, narcissistic boss, employer, narcissistic member of your community, narcissistic neighbor, whatever, and we'll be talking about more today. I focused on navigating your relationship with your spouse, and there is a little bit more to that, but yeah, I hope you tune in next time, and we will continue our podcast on the topic of navigating your relationship with narcissists.
And we're very much looking forward to that, because I know, obviously there's people who deal with spouses, but also we have these other relationships that we have to deal with. And I'm sure there's so many things that we can learn in these relationships, along with what you've already shared in this episode. So we are looking forward to that. I want to encourage you all to like these videos, subscribe to the channel, our YouTube channel. You can also subscribe to the podcast, whether that is on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We want to make sure that you connect with us over there. And don't forget, we do have the Ask Dr. Vani section that will be debuting on the next episode, so make sure to get your questions in for that. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Dr. Vani Podcast.